narcissist. Why I will means nothing. You as an empathic person are generally good for your word. Not always, but generally you are. When you say you'll do something, you will do it. Accordingly, if you have agreed that you'll meet your friend for dinner tonight at 7 o'clock, you'll turn up. Perhaps if you'd arranged it a few weeks ago, you'll send a text in the afternoon saying, just checking that we're good for dinner tonight, and the friend will reply, yes, looking forward to it, and you'll say, see you then. When a narcissist says to you, let's meet up for dinner tonight, at the point at which that's said by a lesser or mid-range narcissist, they believe that they will turn up. However, as soon as those words have been spoken, they may as well not have existed, and they have evaporated into the thin air. You see, the narcissist operates in compartments. Imagine lots of ribbons, all of essentially a second each. And what happens in that first second is that the narcissist must assert control if they're interacting with somebody. If the narcissist is on his own, nothing's happening. Nobody needs to be controlled. He might not even need to get fuel because he's well fueled already. But for the sake of this example, where the narcissist is interacting with somebody, in that second, control has to be asserted. And then into the next ribbon, control has to be asserted. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And the prime aims must be obtained throughout there. They don't necessarily need to be obtained in every single ribbon. But where a narcissist is having an ongoing interaction with somebody through the passage of time, each of those 1 second ribbons, control must be obtained. So the narcissist will say in ribbon 1, I'd love to take you out for dinner tonight. He's doing that as a benign manipulation. As a lesser or mid-range narcissist, he doesn't know that he's manipulating because he's an unaware narcissist. He thinks he's being nice. But it is a benign, manipulation. And in that scenario, the victim then says, oh, I love that, thank you very much. They have signalled control to the narcissist, so control has been obtained in that moment, and they've given the narcissist some fuel. In the next second, control is not being threatened. It's already been obtained. No change. Nothing needs to be done. And in the next second, it remains the same. And then perhaps the two part. And the victim says, really looking forward to seeing you tonight. Me too, replies the narcissist, continuing to assert control through the provision of a benign response. However, whether he turns up later tonight depends upon lots of other factors. Who else he might be interacting in the fuel matrix, the need to assert control over that individual, whether he can assert control of the person that he promised he was going to have dinner with in another way. For instance, he may just ignore them when they're asking, where are you? Because he's not turned up. And that enables him to assert control. Or he offers some kind of ridiculous explanation, namely, I'm caught in traffic, in order to deflect from the fact that he's not there. They may even deny it. Did we arrange to meet? Oh, I must have forgotten. Or maintaining the barefaced lie, although, as I explain in the video, why the narcissist believes that you're a liar, it's his truth, because the narcissism makes him believe that it's the truth, that he says, we never even arranged to meet tonight, you've got the evening wrong. And of course, when this is done repeatedly, and this is where the gaslighting comes from, this causes a victim to question whether they did hear correctly. Maybe I did hear wrong, maybe he meant next week. Well, I'm sure he said tonight. And you start to question yourself. The narcissist doesn't, because the narcissist doesn't self-reflect. The narcissist operates in the moment, it's done, on to the next one. And the past is gone. It never existed, unless it needs to exist, to be brought back in order to assert control in the present. So, when the narcissist says, I will, essentially, it means nothing, because the narcissist has no sense of obligation towards you, a sense of entitlement, and no emotional empathy. The narcissist, however, will deliver in certain instances, but only if it suits the narcissist to do so. So the narcissist may well turn up for dinner at the appointed time. Why? Because the narcissism decreed that it was worthwhile meeting up with this person to continue to control them through benign means, having dinner with them. Also being able to draw fuel from this individual. Also, perhaps, because they're the candidate intimate partner secondary source, and the narcissism guides the narcissist to keep interacting with them in a benign way to bring them under more and more control on their march towards becoming installed as the intimate partner primary source, because the narcissism has identified that that particular person will be very useful for the acquisition of the prime aims of fuel and control, character traits, and residual benefits. Whether a narcissist will hold good on the utterance of "I will" is a vast topic and very much depends upon different variables as at the time when delivery should take place. It might be as a consequence of fuel levels, the need for a particular residual benefit, interaction with somebody else in the fuel matrix, the necessity of asserting control over somebody else in the fuel matrix, the necessity of treating the person who was promised dinner in a malign way by way of asserting control over them because they've become painted black. It might be at the point in the morning you're painted white, you get the invitation to dinner, and then you fail to answer a telephone call from the narcissist 3 hours later, which results in you being painted black, and thereafter the assertion of control that's meted out to you is that the narcissist fails to turn up, because the narcissism decrees that the most appropriate way to utilize the narcissist's time is to assert control over you by withdrawal, i.e. not turning up, third assertion of control, and instead pursuing somebody else. When a lesser or mid-range narcissist says, "I will do that," they intend to do it in the moment that they say it, but by the time we get into that next ribbon, it's floated away, it's evaporated into the ether, it's forgotten about, and it will only be resurrected if the pursuit of the prime aims dictates that that is the most appropriate thing to be done. With the greater and the ultra, they may well knowingly say, "Oh yes, I'll meet you for dinner tonight," and know that they're not going to turn up, but will still issue the lie, because it's part of a calculated manipulation against that particular victim, because that is how greater and the ultra narcissists operate. It might be that at that point in time, the greater the ultra does intend to turn up, but similarly something alters. And because of the sense of entitlement, absence of emotional empathy, no conscience, no remorse, no sensation of guilt, etc., they will let the victim down. More usually with the greater or ultra, some plausible excuse will be offered as part of the assertion of control and not damaging overall control of the appliance too greatly. But where needs must, they could very well be stirred up. The point remains that words are very useful for the narcissist in terms of asserting control, quick to use, inexpensive, low energy cost, and because of the way we compartmentalize, the way that we reject accountability, the way that we operate in the moment, save where it's greater and ultra who think ahead. The lack of accountability, the sense of entitlement, the absence of emotional empathy means that the narcissist can very readily say, "I will," and then never act upon it. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.